Now going to question number 8, here we have a rational equation. Rational equations are when you have variables in your denominator. And in this situation, what you want to do is multiply both sides by that unwanted denominator. So for us, we have x plus 6, and all we have to do is multiply both sides by x plus 6. So we'll cancel out the x plus 6's here, and we'll have 55 equals x squared plus 6x. And now we have a quadratic situation. Quadratics are where you have x squared. And when we say to ourselves, this is a quadratic, that's our reminder that we should get everything on one side equal to 0, preferably with the x squared term being positive. So let's go ahead and try that. All we have to do really is subtract 55 from both sides. 0 equals x squared plus 6x minus 55. And right now, we have a BC factoring situation. As a quick refresher on that, quadratics are in the format of ax squared plus bx plus c. If you see numbers in the b and c spots, that's BC factoring, and you're looking for two numbers that add to b and multiply to c. If, on the other hand, you see numbers in all three spots, a, b, and c, then that's ABC factoring, and you need numbers that add to b and multiply to AC. There's a little example on the screen if you want to practice ABC factoring, and if you pause the screen, you can kind of look at that a little bit, but for now, we're going to move on. Here, we need two numbers that add to b and multiply to c. They need to add to 6, multiply to negative 55. So before we get the numbers, we'll get the signs. Our two numbers multiply to a negative. And numbers that multiply to a negative, if you have two numbers that multiply to a negative, that means they have opposite signs. And out of those two numbers with opposite signs, they add to a positive because they add to positive 6. And that means that out of the two numbers, the bigger looking number is the positive number. Now let's think about the actual numbers. 55 obviously divides by 1. It doesn't divide by 2, by 3, by 4, but it divides by 5. And 5 and 11, if you have a positive and a negative, the bigger being the positive, that means that we'd have negative 5 and positive 11. And those two numbers would add to positive 6 and multiply to negative 55. So we've successfully factored. So we'll have 0 equals x minus 5 and x plus 11. So from the factored position, we know that we have these two parentheses, and when they're multiplied together, the answer is 0. So we can use the 0 product rule that it says that if two things multiply together and the answer is 0, that could only happen if one of them actually were 0. So we can set them both equal to 0 using the 0 product rule. We can say x minus 5 is 0, x plus 11 is 0. Here we'll add 5 to both sides, and here we'll take away 11 from both sides. And so our answers are 5 and negative 11. And now it makes sense that they asked us what is the positive solution, because we have to pick the positive number out of these two. And so our answer is 5.